Welcome to Eagle Vision for Monday, January 30th, 2023. I'm Walaisha, and today's top story highlights our Choose a Career segment. Today's segment is a little longer than normal. We got a chance to talk to one of the bigger companies in the state of Mississippi, Taylor Machines.
We're here for another episode of Choose a Career, and today I'm here with Spencer Pope, who is a part of the Taylor Empire. I'm just going to say empire. Taylor is a massive company here in the state of Mississippi, and we were just talking about it. It's one of those companies that's sort of a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it. So tell us a little bit about Taylor.
Okay, so Taylor and the Taylor Group of Companies, Taylor was founded in 1927. We actually just celebrated our 95th year in business. So we have a whole group of companies now that fall under the Taylor umbrella of companies, but the core business is building really large industrial forklifts. That's where we're at today. Then we have generators as well. We have a military arm. So it's pretty interesting that we're a family-owned company that is third and fourth generation owned at this point. So we're still working for the same family that founded the company in 1927, the Taylors.
If you are in the center of the state and then you go, 20 or 30 miles kind of north, if you're going towards
close to
Starkville, Mississippi, you'll find Louisville, and that's where Taylor's base of operation, their main company operation is out of Louisville.
We were born in the forestry, in the woods. So Taylor was founded as a machine shop. Started building equipment for the sawmills in the area. So the sawmills were, to get logs out of the woods, it was teams of mules, believe it or not, pulling them out with mules. So we invented a piece of equipment that helped get logs out of the woods, and that's sort of how we got our footing. And then that led to additional equipment for the sawmills, including forklifts. And that was sort of in the 50s. And from there, it just grew and grew. Now we make forklifts anywhere. They'll pick up anywhere from 4,000 pounds all the way up to 125,000 pounds. Biggest things you've ever seen.
So for those of you thinking about the regular forklift at Lowe's right now, we're on a hold it, and they make those too.
We do those too.
But the big, huge forklifts, and these are machines that you would be astounded to actually see in person. I can tell you from experience because I toured Taylor a few years ago, and they let me climb up into one of those machines, and you feel like, it's like you're almost 2 stories, it feels like, off the ground in the thing looking down. So it's absolutely amazing, and there's only a few companies in the world that make these types of machines.
That's right. So we're really the only major producer of these machines in the United States. Most of our competition is overseas.
Okay, now you mentioned it earlier, but I want you to say it again. Tell us how many different divisions of Taylor exist.
Okay, so I think
without getting lost,
because
the company's huge.
It is. I think there's 8 main divisions. I'll try to get this right. I work on the forklift side, so I'm in Taylor Machine Works. We have an aftermarket company that supports all of the forklifts in the field. So that's your mechanics and technicians and parts guys. That is Taylor SSI, which stands for Sudden Service. So that's what we're all about, taking care of the customers. But then we have a leasing arm, a financing arm, so we can help finance equipment for customers.
Right.
Taylor Leasing and Rental. Then we have a big generator division, Taylor Power Systems. We have a freight division, Taylor Logistics. We have a military division, which is Taylor Defense Products, who's doing some really cool work, and they're actually remanufacturing current material handling equipment in the military and giving them another 10-year lifespan or so.
I remember seeing that in the factory where they literally take an old something that's come off the field and go through and rebuild the thing and then send it back out cheaper than they could build a new one for.
That's exactly right. And we take it all the way down to the bare chassis, and everything comes back up on it new. But you actually are just completely rebuilding that existing piece of equipment, putting it back in service for the military. And so it's saving us. It's saving the government, which in turn saves the taxpayers money. So right. I like that division. But and the last thing we have Taylor Tool and Supply. which is actually local in Louisville, Mississippi. One location right now, but it is a Napa and Ace dealer. So.
Okay, awesome. Now, how do you take care of all of these different machines?
Well, that falls under Taylor Sudden Service. And if you're going to have Sudden Service in your name, you got to go do your job, right?
Right.
That's exactly right. So, but we've got a great division. We've got thousands of trucks. I mean, we've got 95 years of equipment in the field, okay? So it's a massive group that takes care of our trucks in the field. So you've got mechanics, technicians, parts guys, dealer representatives, then you get into your accounting positions and all the things that go with service center managers and all of that. But the key is we've got about 30 plus locations. I think 33, 34 at this time. Those are all direct factory locations. They're located, say, from Virginia all the way to Texas and up into the Midwest. We've got a lot of factory direct Taylor stores. In the other parts of the country, we have a big dealer network, and our dealers have over 100 locations. So between our 30-something direct locations and our dealers' 100 locations or more, we cover the U.S., Canada. We have international locations, so we're in Mexico, down in Latin America. So it's just a vast network. We're a much bigger company than most people around here realize.
Right. And so to clarify that for students who may have been confused, what he's talking about the differences are, there's like a Chevrolet dealership that sells Chevrolets, but you could also go to a used car lot or another car lot and buy a Chevrolet. He's saying there's actual Taylor dealerships that are owned by the company, but they also sell their equipment to other dealers.
That's right.
What are some interesting new products and innovations and existing products that y'all have developed? Because y'all are all over the place, and the generator technology that I've seen that y'all have got is astounding as well.
Yeah, the generators are fantastic. It's really, really large commercial generators.
That can run what kind of power?
Well, that's what I was going to say. We have units large enough that you could pull up to a hospital and run the whole hospital. They fill an 18-wheeler trailer. So those are great for emergency situations. You think about in a disaster situation where you have to power a hospital or maybe a huge police department or a jail or a college, or it just goes on and on. There's so many applications, but the generator business is vast, from agriculture to oil and gas to commercial. I've seen photos of our generators on high rises in downtown New York City, so they're all over the place. But that's a great division. One of the cool things I would say that I've seen out of our generator division is in the oil and gas industry. So if anybody's ever gone by an oil, like a pump jack, or an oil site or a frac site, a lot of times you see a pipe sticking up with flare gas.
Right.
It's actually waste gas they're burning off. So that's not great, but it's stuff that can't be used otherwise, and they have to get rid of it, so they have flare gas. We developed a generator that will run on the gas.
So we'll take that waste and actually use it.
Exactly right. So it's got a scrubber inside the generator. It's dual fuel. You can pull the generator up and run it on diesel, but then you can hook the pipe to it from the flare gas, flip it over and run it on the flare gas. But think about this. The generator is being used to power the well, and then the waste gas is powering the generator. So it is a continuous circle there taking care of itself.
And talking about being better with resources, y'all are also developing some pretty insane machines that are working on batteries.
That's right. So we get back on the forklift side. One of our key industries are the ports all around the world. Now,
these are the machines that are going to the boats, plucking the containers and then sticking them on trucks or trains.
Or stacking them. You'll see the ports with all these containers stacked 5, 6, 7 high, thousands and thousands of them on the ports. For the last 50 years, we've been building forklifts or container handlers that'll handle these 20 and 40 foot boxes and stack them. They can weigh up to 90,000 pounds. So one of the things that we've done is there's so many of those machines. Let's take the West Coast for instance. So Long Beach and LA, There's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these trucks out there. So they're very concerned about emissions and diesel emissions.
Because they're running 24 hours a day.
They are. And so one of the things we're doing is developing an electric version. We're the first ones in the world to develop a fully electric container handler, and we've got 8 of them running on the West Coast right now, and they're huge. They're the largest piece of battery rolling electric equipment in the world, and it was developed right here in Mississippi. So we've got 8 of those guys running on the West Coast right now. We've got a whole production line with them fixing to go into production in a Generation 2 format. And that's going to change the way things are done out there.
With the regulations coming down, especially on the West Coast, I would imagine that y'all are going to get way more orders and be handling way more of those in the future.
We are actually currently flipping. We have over 100 models of forklifts. It's a process that's going to take another few years, but we're actually converting every forklift to an electric version as well.
Right, it just makes good sense. Now, you mentioned how many locations do y'all have?
30 plus.
30 plus locations. So if students are interested in a career with Taylor, but you might not want to be in the state of Mississippi, there are some options to go outside the state.
There absolutely are. There's options. The main factory is 2.5 hours south of here, okay? There's a lot going on in Louisville, Mississippi at the main factory, but there's 30 additional locations. There's even one 30 minutes from here in West Memphis. We have a big location in West Memphis. So most of those factory, the satellite locations, I'll just call them.
Right.
Most of those are focused on service. There's sales and service, but most of the people who work in those locations are mechanics, technicians, parts people, taking care of the trucks in the field. Like I said a while ago, I could tell you Virginia, we've got locations Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, everywhere in Texas. You get up into the Midwest and Indianapolis and places like that. So I mean, you can literally go anywhere and work for Taylor.
Now, if one of these massive machines goes dead on a dock, there's really not any shipping it back to Louisville for repair. So I'm assuming, do y'all have repair guys that go overseas or wherever they need to be repaired?
Exactly right. So that's why we have all these locations close. You don't want to have to get on a plane every time and go fix a truck. Now we'll do that. If we have to have an expert go somewhere, we send them from the factory. Absolutely. But you have all of these locations geographically located to take care of your machines so that you can get them up and running immediately. And so our dealer network does the same thing we do. So our direct locations, we have dealer locations everywhere. I mean, those are great places as well. I'll plug those guys as well. They're taking care of our equipment. So we're nationwide. And hey, it's one of the great things, and you brought it up, these are machines. They're going to break.
Right.
One thing we can do is we've got a great new telematics system too that we can watch every truck in the field from the factory. We have a room set up with monitors everywhere, and we're getting live feedback from every truck we put in the field, so we can see it.
So you can assess problems that might come up. But I remember going through a back lot, and y'all had parts and machinery for things that you have discontinued in case y'all have to go back and rebuild or help a customer who's purchased something from the past.
I get calls every day from forklifts that are still in the field running that are 40 years old, so or more. I mean, I've actually had calls from trucks that were built in the 60s that are still running. So if you start adding up the years, now we take care of those vehicles. We have a great facility that falls under the SSI side, the sudden service side.
Right.
We have what we call a distribution and operations center in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And that facility is like a mini factory, but it's just for the aftermarket, for our customers. It has all the machine shops and the machining and the welders and the cylinder rebuild, and we even do full truck rebuilds there. So basically, you can take any truck and that you've got in the field, we can support it. Even if it's really old and for some reason we don't have a part on the shelf, we can build the part. And we continue to do that. What you saw was at the main factory, it was jigs for like a steer axle or something that we build. And so it's these jigs that are set up to where you can put everything in place and tack it all up and it fits perfectly in a truck, okay? And you keep those items and you put a part number on them and you push them out in the back and just store them. And if you have a truck, somebody calls you 10 years from now and says, hey, I need a steer axle built for this truck. We can go out, pull that back into the factory, rebuild that part, and move on.
And know that it's going to fit.
That's right.
Y'all are actively looking for new employees.
That's right.
How many employees do you have, and what are all the different things that a high school student could be plugged into?
There's a place for almost any field at Taylor because we're so broad and we do so much. But we currently have probably 1,400 plus employees, assemblers and welders, mechanics and technicians and accountants, and it just goes on and on and on. There are jobs that you have to have college education for. There are plenty of jobs you do not. So good paying jobs. My son, he went to a 1-year VOTEC program and is welding for Taylor in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and he started out at $20+ an hour. So, and that's at 20 years old, you know.
Right. So if you want to be even on the building floor or something like that, you can be trained.
Absolutely. There are plenty of positions that do not require a college education that you can be trained to do that are actually really well-paying positions.
If they are interested in getting in contact with Taylor, where do they need to go? Aside from our office, which will have information and brochures.
Sure. Well, I mean, the best thing to do would be just go to the website. So there's a couple of different websites that pretty much point to the same place, but so it's just TaylorMachineWorks.com, TaylorBigRed.com. But just look up Taylor Forklifts. You would get a hit on Google to go to the website. Go down in the website, you'll find the jobs link. You can go sign up to get job notifications so you can stay on the job board so you see what's coming up. Like I said, there's so many positions that we didn't even mention.
Yeah, and he's left some brochures for you guys to look at here in the building. And I mean, the brochure is huge and it's got all sorts of information about multiple jobs. And like he said, you don't have to go to Central Mississippi. They've got places all over, including right over here, West Memphis. So, all right, well, thank you so very much.
Oh, yeah, man. Glad to do it. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some new talent.
Yep.
This week's featured vocabulary words are dynamic, eclipse, and emerge. Dynamic, characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. Eclipse, a loss of significance, power, or prominence in relation to another person or thing. Emerge, become apparent, important, or prominent.
It's now time for today's announcements. Pay attention. There's lots of important information we need you to know. Seniors, it's now time to start sending us pictures for the senior video. You can send pictures and videos to our email account, hornlaketv@gmail.com. FCS meets every Wednesday morning in the cafeteria at 7 a.m. We invite all students who are interested to come join. That's it for today's episode. Here at Horn Lake, we are better students, always growing and expecting more. Stay tuned for your lunch menus and athletic schedules. We see you here tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.
Centerfold, hard to hide it. Oh, on the walls in the writing. If we stay, we're complacent. Too much time to be wasted. I don't wanna lie to you like this. I don't wanna fight with you like this. We gon' pay the price if we play.